Thanks, Kevin, and thanks for that outline of what folks can expect. I'd also like to thank everybody for being with us today. I'm Dave DeRosa. I'm the president of the BCPVPA. I'm a principal and a teacher for the last 28 years, and currently I'm sharing a remote work location, also known as home, with my wife, who's a teacher, and she's on a Zoom call right now as well, and our 3 20-plus-year-old children. And so I'm hopeful that our Wi-Fi can withstand the access that we've got going on in a single household today. I'd also like to acknowledge that we're gathered on many different First Nations, and I'd like to acknowledge First Nations on whose traditional territories we're working on today. Today, I'm working on the traditional territories of the Okanagan, Tunaksa, and Sinixt peoples, and I am grateful for that. I'd also like to just, acknowledge that the change is our new normal. Day to day, it feels like, and safety and our health priorities are still number one in our minds, top of mind, as we go through this process and continue to learn together and how to engage in that top priority. And then today is also about learning continuity. And top of mind for me in that context is equity, accessibility, and the connection with colleagues and with our students and our families. Along the way, one of the things that I'm hopeful as part of this new reality is that we have the opportunity, and as many researchers will say, almost a necessity to take pauses in our day as we embrace change so significantly and literally take some time to breathe. With so many unknowns ahead of us, and a reminder that, even just a week ago, could any of us have imagined what today would look like? And so just a reminder from me to all of you out there that, please give yourself permission to breathe in the next today and the weeks to come. For today, what we're hoping to do is to provide an introduction and a demonstration of how BetterEducate can facilitate learning continuity. The webinar will be recorded, as Kevin mentioned, and opportunities for follow-up questions and clarification. Many of the how-tos, we'll have that opportunity after the webinar, and in fact, before tomorrow and during tomorrow's webinar. Most of you have access to the website for registration and a promo code, and if you don't panic. We'll make sure you get all of that. As far as a couple of introductions, I'd like to acknowledge that Adam DeBray and Shawn Lockhart are on the call for support, and my thanks to them directly for providing free access to BetterEducate to educators across British Columbia. My thanks also to teachers Andrew McKinley and Kirsten Rezansoff for sharing their experiences with us today. Andrew will get us started with how teachers can connect with their students and families, and then Kirsten will provide an introduction to resources for teachers teaching remotely. Just as a quick reminder, BetterEducate is an online platform that was designed to facilitate sharing of resources and ideas by specifically connecting educators. And so what we're looking at is a new twist on BetterEducate and some significant changes to allow us to connect really quickly and easily with students and families and continue to connect with each other. As an outcome for today, what we're hoping for is, we recognize how busy we all are and appreciate that you're taking time to learn something new in the context of all of this change. So I'm so grateful for that. And I'm hopeful you'll be able to utilize BetterEducate to support that learning continuity guideline and principle, and your students and their families and each other. Just one last little piece. Henry Vickers says, when you speak from the head, others will hear you, but when you speak from your heart, others' hearts will connect with you. So today, compassion starts with ourselves, and remember throughout these challenging times to give yourself some permission to pause and to breathe, and so that way you'll have the energy and capacity to support others. And on that note, I'm looking forward to beginning our journey today, and I'd like to introduce and welcome Andrew McKinley. Is he online yet?
Yeah, I'm here, Dave.
Okay, fabulous. Then I will stop my share and you can begin yours.
Thank you. I like the way you ended there by talking about compassion. I hope everyone's got some compassion. We had a bunch of technical issues. I was jumping out of a team meeting with my staff, and we couldn't get into Zoom. So I'm hoping this works. I do have some slides that I will be sharing with people. But to start off with, it became pretty evident for a lot of us last week that we're going back into a whole new teaching environment. And I know many of my colleagues and speaking with people around the province, there were some concerns around like, how are we going to get this information into our kids' hands? For us in Grand Forks, we left school at 3:30 that Thursday, and about 4:30, there was lots of us that were starting to head out of the country and heading south and whatnot. And we start hearing rumors and start seeing the health minister saying things like, don't leave the country. If you leave the country, you got 2 weeks of quarantine. So a whole bunch of us were, switching switching up, what we're going to spend our spring break doing. And then when last week we started thinking about how are we going to communicate with the kids, and unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to sort of front end load our kids. How are you going to access information? We didn't have that opportunity to actually teach them how they can access some of this information. So started talking with Shawn, and we were looking at how are we going to get the kids to jump off. And BetterEducate came along as a real easy, simple solution that we're going to be able to provide a portal for our kids to be able to access information. There's things that we can give instructions. There's links to websites, apps that you'd like them to be using, images, files, videos. And one thing that Shawn and I talked a lot about was this feedback loop, and was speaking with a number of my parents in the last couple of days. The kids are missing that feedback loop, and BetterEducate, we're able to have that quick, easy feedback loop. Videos, how are we going to teach the kids how to use some of the things that we want them to be doing? So, for example, my kids, we use 365 accounts, but they've never used Teams. So you're able to find a quick, there's a video in YouTube and a quick little 2 or 3 minute introduction, how you log into your team account. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to try and share my screen. I'll just quickly go through, how you can quickly and easily make a website that you're able to share with parents. And the nice thing about, it's one URL, and you can use it as a portal for all of your information that you want to share with the kids and with your parents. So if I can go into my internet. Okay, is that good? We're seeing. So I'll just go to BetterEducate. So there's the BetterEducate website. Log in. Okay, in order to make, BetterEducate was, originally designed as a place for educators to share resources, and we've taken it sort of into an area that's new for all of us, and we're going to be using it as a portal for teachers to be able to share their information with their with parents and with kids. So it's quite simple, and the thing that I really liked about it, it's easy to create, it's easy to set up, it's easy to modify it and to maintain for you as a teacher. It's simple for students, really simple and easy for the students and the parents to navigate. And the last thing that was important, and I know this is, there might be some challenges around FOIPA and privacy and whatnot, but to access this portal, there is no password required. So we're not having to send passwords out to our kids because, again, we haven't had that opportunity to do that front-end loading for them. So in order to create a simple little website, I'm starting by clicking on this little green button up here. I'm going to simply add a resource. And, welcome back. My grade 4-5 classroom I did. Okay, there's a number of levels you can put in, just an intermediate classroom. Tags, I'm just going to put it in as a classroom. And you can either post it from your organization or from yourself. So I can switch that to myself. And then simply save and go to next. Videos, and this is the real nice part because we haven't had that opportunity to actually teach our kids how to use some of the different applications. So if I'm going to add a simple little YouTube video, whoops, sorry about that. I need to, I'm going to go in and grab a URL from another website. So simply using YouTube, or you can actually, like Kirsten's done, she's created some QuickTime videos that you're able to put in as well. So for example, if I wanted my kids to, how to I want my kids to be able to log into Office 365. There it is. And
it's on the Gold Coast of Australia.
I simply copy the URL, go back into my BetterEducate, paste the URL, save the video. Photos, if I wanted to add some pictures. I also had some links. So, you know, for example, my kids were going to be using Spelling City, and I can just simply add a link to that resource for them. Uh-oh. There we go, a little slow. All right, now this is the, you know, if you were putting up a resource for BetterEducate, this is this button down here, you'd click publish it, and then that's going to become visible for everybody. But the plan is for us to use them for, you know, just with our own students. If I click on share, I simply have this URL, and I'm able to copy that. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to have, I've got all my parents' email, so I simply just have to email that URL out to my kids or to my parents, and then they've got access to this website. And you can see, you know, it's a welcome back. You know, I could put a little description, some introductions. There's a little video I want them to use. There's a link I want them to access. The piece that, in talking with a number of parents of grade 4 kids, the kids are missing that sort of communication with their teachers and feedback. So there's a real simple solution in BetterEducate. If I click on my profile icon and I go to classrooms, and I can create a new classroom, and I can just simply ask, you know, and I can ask them, and now all my kids, they can go in, they can quickly, simply back into my web page, and I can add that as a link to, oops, nope, sorry. My page go out was where right here, sorry. Go back into links, and I can add that link as a resource. So that's my now when all my kids log on to that URL that I'm going to send to their parents, they have that feedback loop where they can sort of be communicating with one another. So that's, you know, that's a quick little introduction to BetterEducate. One of the things that I, again, to sort of go back and look, you know, having a portal, having a place where the kids can actually quickly get to, it's easy for you as a teacher to use, to set up. There's no passwords, it's one URL, and then the kids and the parents are able to access information. And, you know, they are going to have to delve deeper into things like 365, whether they're using Mathletics, whatever you're using as a resource. But using BetterEducate as a portal, I think is going to be something that's going to be really beneficial for us as teachers as we sort of move into these uncharted waters, trying to continue on with our education of our students. So I think that's about it for me, Dave. If someone else wants to say, I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. And again, I think Kevin's recording all of this, and we'll be able to actually provide some resources out to folks that take that quick intro and allow you to see it in a little bit more detail. And now next up is Kirsten Rezansoff. Thanks, Kirsten.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. These are strange times for sure, and Andrew has all sorts of brilliant points about it. When I think back to last week, when I started thinking about coming back to work and what is this going to look like, you know, I'm a teacher. I have tons of resources, and I feel like I actually have pretty good lesson ideas for what kids can do from home. I felt good about that, but I had no vision for how that goes from my brain and my house to the kids' brains and the kids' houses. And I was just totally overwhelmed. It was like standing in a dark room holding an unlit candle. Like, how do I get this thing lit? I don't know how to light it. And then I got this text from Shawn, Lockhart, and it was a link to the page that Andrew had started creating. And it was like, they brought the matches. I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense. And now I kind of feel like I know what I'm going to do. The approach at our school is a little different. We're a very small school, and so we're a very cohesive school, but we kind of are all over the map in terms of technology, ease of use with technology, familiarity with technology. And so we wanted to have sort of a gradual release of responsibility to make sure that no teacher in our school felt like they were standing in that dark room with no candle. So we have, we're using BetterEducate, but we're actually starting as a school to use it. So we're not going with just classrooms at the moment. Andrew's classroom page is our ultimate plan. That's phase 3 of the plan. So I'm going to show you our phase 1 here. Should be sharing my screen. So if you have a look here, are you looking at my, grade 6-7 classroom? That's the wrong one. So as we speak, Christina Lake families are receiving an email from the school office that says, please watch this video. And then there's a little YouTube video showing them kind of navigate through this site and talking about how our rollout will go. And then there's a link to this page, which we've asked them to bookmark, because this is the front door of the school. This is the office of the school for the time being. So you can see we've got a little description here from Shawn. And again, like this week, the focus is on connection. You know, we spoke to our families, and that they were so happy to hear from us. You know, I think one of the parents said to one of our teachers, I'm just so glad to talk to an adult. So those connections, they're important. So we've got some pictures over here, little Bitmojis of our staff. We took a quick video in a Zoom meeting where every teacher says a little welcome so that the kids can see our faces and hear our voices and know that it's going to be okay. There's our school dog. There's a video there where he says hello. I set up my home library and read a story. Daily breathing is part of our school routine. So Miss Sarah led a breathing activity that families can do together, and then our school song is on there so they can feel connected again. And then down here under the links, which Andrew was showing you how to add, we've got an activity. So just like what Andrew was showing, where he created that spring break question, when families log in, they can click on there. This is what it looks like when you open up that link. And you can see our question was exactly what Andrew asked. Share one thing you did over spring break. So all of the staff have already answered, and then kids will be able to type in their answers. Families can give their answers, and they can see what each other, what they've been up to. We also have one file at the moment that just says, it's that going over that how to get on Zoom and use your school account. And then that's phase 1 of our rollout. Here's our school, here's the front door, here we are, we're going to be okay, how are you, is kind of the plan. So next week on Monday or Tuesday, on this exact same page, we will have down here a learning plan for our primary students and a learning plan for our intermediates. So we're stepping forward with teams at this point instead of individual classrooms, again, because we want to make sure everyone feels ready to move into that phase of working alone. So I'm just going to show you the example of our primary plan for next week. It's not quite finished, but the primary teachers met, and our goal is to have one of these learning plans for every week. So even once we move into classrooms, it'll look like this. They'll go to BetterEducate, they'll find this document. Here's what you're going to do for reading and writing. Here's the numbers stuff, math, exploring the world, so social science, some play and some exercise, social emotional learning, of course, doing their daily breathing practice. And then this is where we're going to schedule any classroom Zoom calls. This is, you can see I've got a note there where we don't know how that's going to work yet, but it's on the list. So when parents come to this same link that they've been sent today with all of our great videos, they'll come to the bottom, they'll find that learning plan for their primary student or their intermediate student, and any resources they need to complete that stuff will be on this exact same spot. So everything's in one place. And then when we're ready for phase 3, we will have this page as, again, the front door of the classroom. So they'll come in and then there'll be a link to the K1 page and to the grade 6-7 page and everyone's classroom. And then kids can go to that page to find all of their weekly work and ways to connect with each other and all those things. So like Andrew said, that for me, the biggest highlight is we're not talking passwords. There aren't fresh links. Like, everything is in one place. And like a classroom, all the resources are in that one place. So one thing that I really like too, this is me, like Andrew was showing you, this is where I'm actually in building my classroom for grade 6-7. I work in a tiny school, and so of course I have 300 jobs. So I share this grade 6-7 classroom with another educator. So what I can do is over here, sorry, I'm just going to move this over. I can invite another editor to this page. So I have done it, so we'll actually see. So I just search anybody else who's on BetterEducate. I search their name, it'll come up, I send them an invite. I've already invited my colleague Ryan. So we team teach this class. So now Ryan is an editor. So he can come in here and he can add the links that he needs the kids to see. So all of our 6-7s are only visiting one page, even though they have 2 teachers, which is just brilliant. So the one piece of it that we will still need to kind of collaborate on in a different setting is that learning map. We will probably set that up as a Google Doc or whatever, and then publish it. And then, but coming in here, we don't have to be here at the same time. He doesn't have to send me all of his stuff. We can both edit. My other jobs are library and music. And so I'm hoping the other classroom teachers, when they set up their classrooms, will be able to add me as an editor. And then I'll just, Tuesday's library day. So kids know they log into their classroom site and there'll be a video of Mrs. Rezansoff reading a book. So, so that's kind of how we're planning to use that editors feature as well, which is really cool once we get to that phase 3. And again, parents will find their classroom, their student's classroom, just right on this one same link that they have possibly right now, but sometime by the end of today. So everything is always in that same space. I wanted to show, just Andrew touched on it a little bit at the beginning too, just about sharing resources for other educators as well. It's not a feature of BetterEducate that I've used very often because my familiarity with this program is actually in the school growth plan module, which when all this insanity is over, I highly recommend you check it out. It's revolutionized what the growth plan means in our building. But the resource sharing, I was never really that excited about. Sorry, Shawn and Adam. Just because this site is full of administrators. And so every resource is about leadership, which is interesting for me to read, but it does not help me in my classroom. And so I am very excited that there are teachers coming in here and that we can start having resources that we share with each other, because I can Google kitchen science experiments and then I can weed through thousands of terrible ideas and, read 15 paragraphs about why someone's homeschooling their child before I find the activity I want. Or I can log into BetterEducate, look up science experiments, find something Andrew posted, and I trust that guy. Here's something that's going to be good. I know a teacher is using it. So in all of this, I would encourage you, if you can, while you set up your page for your classroom to share with your students, to take those couple of extra minutes to also publish any really valuable resources that other teachers might want, because, we're we're stronger when we work together. And I think back to that moment last week when Andrew lit the candle for me, and my anxiety went, and I think as much as we can be the light for each other right now, we need to do that. So sharing resources is a way to do that. And one of the resources I have posted on there is a how to set up your classroom page. So if you find it, it's all there. That's all I have to say.
Kirsten, can you just scroll down to that resource that you did and maybe just show them how you could find it once they're in there?
Sure. So once you're actually logged in, over here in your dashboard, you just click on resources. And because I've posted it fairly recently, it should just be in this list. So I've got a teaching from home plan, which just kind of outlines exactly what I just showed you. And then if you go a little further down, creating a shareable classroom resource on BetterEducate. And it's a how-to. You can also search for me by my name, Kirsten Rezansoff, and you can search for that how-to or that kind of thing.
Kirsten, can you also just, can you go to the educators tab at the bottom left? Because what people can do, and I foresee this in the very quick future, is if they go down there and they find Kirsten Rezansoff and they click on that profile, that will come up with all of her resources. So anyone who's in there, if you've got an updated profile and you've got resources that you've published, you can actually, if you know that, okay, Andrew McKinley, I know, or Dave DeRosa's got a lot of resources as an administrator, I go actually right to Dave DeRosa's baseball card or his profile, and I click on that and I list his bio, everything else. I mean, if you can click on one of them, maybe, it'll show you all that they have. So there's multiple ways to get, there's either the resource that you're looking for, or maybe there's, the bigger picture that we've worked on with the principals has been, we know that there's certain experts out there in certain areas. And if you're clicking on that person, you kind of know what you're going to be getting for resources. So there's that piece for the collaboration as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So here are all of the administration leadership resources that you could ever wish for right here in Dave DeRosa's profile. I have a lot of those too, actually, if you follow me, but the most recent ones are all about teaching. That's my spiel.
Thank you, Andrew and Kirsten. That was awesome. That was great.
Yeah, that was fabulous. I'm trying to collect it back. The parts that I think really resonated for me and what I learned was that initial page can be the school's front door, and that connection piece. Have you thought about? I'm assuming that you have an awareness for your community connection and access. Have you thought about that part? Like, how well do you expect this to work on somebody's phone, or that? I'm trying to get at the accessibility for folks in terms of, does every home have access?
I went through all my kids yesterday and the day before, talking with parents, and I was actually surprised. Out of 25 kids, 23 of them have either a laptop or a tablet that this will work with, and the 2 kids that don't, the school's looking at being able to provide them with something.
Okay, thanks. And Kirsten, anything else?
I think it's probably really similar for us. I don't know that we have any students who don't have some access. And again, one of the things I really like about BetterEducate is that actually I'm not trying to produce anything live. The kids don't have to be there at the same time, because we do have families that have 4 kids and 1 iPad. So, we're trying to coordinate with that. And I think that's a consideration as well.
Awesome. I really like how you're starting to the progression of connecting first and then connecting to the school, getting folks comfortable. Any thoughts around what's next specifically for those parents that may still be feeling a bit of anxiety about this? Have you, or is that part of that first publication that you've done?
I think the phone calls, I think that relieved a lot of parents' concerns and worries. And, we sort of explained that we're all in this together, right? This is brand new for us. We're sort of going down this journey together. And I mean, I found all the parents that I've talked to, and my wife teaches at the high school, and, they've been contacting kids and parents as well. And same sort of thing. I think, that initial contact, they're very appreciative of it. And then having, talking to them and saying, look, I'm going to be sending out this URL, and it's as simple, like you explained it, as the front door. And I think that's a really good way of explaining it, that, we're going to get back into school, and we're going to come through this front door, and all the resources and the things that you're going to require, you're going to be able to find off of that platform.
Yeah. Great teaching. Great strategies. I'm assuming there will be some questions from folks that they'll be able to submit. Those Kevin will collate, and then we'll be able to address maybe some things tomorrow about some of the how-to, and maybe go through some processes again. Thank you so much for sharing, your quick learning curves, and the simplicity of it is, I think, what we're all looking for. It's that, let's get started. And so you've done a really fabulous job of sharing how we can do that. Unless there's anything else to add, Shawn, from an administrator's perspective, anything you can think of? That's the least I've heard Shawn say in a while. That's great.
Thank you, Dave. I just wanted to thank Kirsten and Andrew again for actually spending time to do this. It's a lot of anxiety in this time for everyone, especially in education, and we're trying to figure out how to best deliver stuff and keep connected to kids. And I've known Andrew for a very long time, and when I asked him to do this, he was very willing to do it, just to help out the bigger cause. But what Andrew's doing is more, he's got his own classroom, he's setting up, he's doing that his way. And then what we've done in our school, Kirsten's kind of taken the lead to curate for everybody, and we're all one kind of ship leaving the port as a school. So it's a little bit different for each one, but I mean, it works, and we're pretty confident for where it's going. I know Andrew, right after this, says he's been bombarded with other teachers to show him how to do that in his own building. So thank you. And I know that we're a bit rushed getting on this call, so I really appreciate, it's a pretty good testament of how well Andy could deliver under pressure. He got in about a second before we started this call. So that was amazing. And then, tomorrow, for those people that I see, there's about 60 to 70 participants in right now. For those that want to look at it tomorrow, we can go a little bit deeper. And really, if you're on the system, it is free for everybody. Go ahead, check it out. And there's a collaboration section in there on one of the side tabs. And there's not enough time to go through everything that the site can do, but right now the focus was like, what can we do in this moment with teachers to deliver curriculum and connect with kids and families? But we haven't really covered what it can do in our own ranks and how we can support each other with sharing resources. And there's a lot of research out there. There's lots of reasons why teachers, they have a hard time sharing. We do as human beings. You're putting yourself out there. You're maybe worried about getting judged. You're worried about, is your stuff up to date? You're probably not an extrovert like I am. But there's, in those moments that, there's a bit of panic and there's a bit of angst, comes really, really creative stuff. So I just want to thank Andrew and Kirsten for being those creative lights right now, because they are definitely relieving a lot of anxiety in our district for teachers, and I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, great points. Thanks, Shawn. So I think, again, just in closing, maybe I can't. No, I don't see it. We'll have to go get out of there. We're all learning. Let's see. Still no.
Mr. DeRosa, can I go to the bathroom real quick, please?
Yeah. Put your hand up, please. I had another closing slide, but I can't seem to find it. So what we'll do is say thank you to everybody who's joined us. Thank you, Kevin. If you want to sort of close us out in terms of the technical pieces, that'd be great. And again, to everybody out there, please take care. The kind of people that we are, unknown is not our regular playground. So this is our attempt as an organization to provide an opportunity for folks to come together to share a bit of vulnerability. I think that's one of the things Shawn was referring to. As I have learned to post and share in this context, it's a great space to be vulnerable, and it's a great place to learn from each other. It's a great place to connect. So I look forward to tomorrow having maybe some more in-depth questions and to connecting with folks on Better Educate. Thank you, everybody. Kevin, back to you.
All right. Thank you to our presenters for sharing today. As was mentioned earlier, this is part one of a two-part series for us to dive in a little bit deeper. Just to add a couple of questions that have come in the question box. Yes, we are recording this. I'll post it on our YouTube channel and send you a link probably sometime over the weekend for this. So you get a chance to review it and play with it. A couple of people have mentioned that they have had some difficulty using the promo code to get in. It is free for teachers. A little later today, I will send all participants a classroom question, just as Andrew and Kirsten shared with us as well today, just to get some feedback and help set the stage for tomorrow's presentation. There may be some things that you want to learn more about with that. And other than that, I think I will also probably include Shawn and Adam's email address if they'll allow me. So if you have any technical questions, you can connect with them directly. And with that, Dave, do you want to wrap it up?
Actually, Kevin, so, just a suggestion with the webinar that's going to be recorded today and tomorrow. Can I request that you post that as a resource inside Better Educate for people to refer to?
Yeah, we'll do that for both those things. I know we have a number of people registered. Yeah, we can do that both ways. Yeah. So
Thank you.
Sure. Good suggestion. Thank you for that.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. And just give yourselves permission to breathe. Take care.